Improve your immunity naturally. Donna's story. Recently, a woman asked me how she can improve her immunity and her kids' immunity. A strong immune system is always essential for everyone, but it has taken a special role during the COVID-19 pandemic. We know the people with low immunity are at higher risk. So, what you, especially if you are a parent, can do to protect yourself and your loved one by improving our immunity naturally. So, in today's program, our guest, Donna Tergesen, will share her personal story of being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at age 26, her discovery of healing principles, and her passion for sharing those with others on how to boost immune system. What helped her may help you too, and her program Nourish Your Kids may help our children. Would you like to learn those techniques? Then stay with us. My request to live audience at this time, please share if you can hear and see us properly, right? And it would be helpful to know where you guys are joining from. So go ahead and enter your country in the comment section. Thank you, friends, for joining today. I'm sure you're going to learn a lot from our friends, Donna. Um, Hi, Donna.
Good afternoon, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Dr. Rozina, for inviting me to join you today
thank
and to share my story and to help heal others who are looking for some natural ways to heal themselves or their children.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining. So, Donna Tergesen is a certified health counselor, a mother, an author, teacher, leader, lecturer, and optimist. Since 2003, Donna's company Nourish Our Kids have made a vast impact on many lives with their storybook, music, and curriculum, motivating children and their parents to embrace healthy eating. Um, so today she's going to talk about those things and help us learn. In terms of if you are joining us first time, my name is Dr. Rosina, and I help you nurture a happy and healthy mind. I'm a psychiatrist, an author, and speaker. And I do these programs because I believe that a healthy mind is necessary for success in all aspects of your life. And if you're joining us during the live program, you can put the questions in the comments section and we'll try to answer them. And if you're listening to recording, you can reach us through our Facebook group, Happy and Healthy Mind through, with Dr. Rosina. And before we start, let me share that all this information is for education purposes. Please refer to your healthcare professional for specific treatment advice. If you find any value in these programs, like, subscribe, and share so more people can be helped to live happier and healthier life. So let's come to our guest today. So we are discussing today how to improve your immunity naturally, and Donna's story of her health journey. So Donna, tell me, what kind of challenges were you facing before going through your health journey?
When I was young, I had a variety of health challenges, chronic bronchitis, asthma, just, kind of just benign, or traditional for young people. So it just went unnoticed. I had issues with my floaters in my eyes. And then later on, just chronic fatigue. And more aggressively, tingling sensations in my feet and in my hands. And I think that was the catalyst that brought me to looking at alternative ways to start remedying, these issues. So I went to a chiropractor first. After a series of treatments, 6 months later, he said, Donna, this isn't right. I don't know how else I can help you. You're not improving. Why don't you go for an MRI? And then, to everyone's surprise, the diagnosis came in that you have multiple sclerosis. You have the beginning stages of multiple sclerosis. My dad had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis years before. And so I counseled with his, top New York City neurologist. My husband and I went, and he said, pretty grimly, make sure you have good insurance. You're young, there's no cure, and most likely you should have your children early, because there's a good chance you're going to be in a wheelchair.
Oh my God. That must be pretty scary.
Devastating. You're just, devastating news, and a lot of stress and anxiety, and so just overwhelming. Just starting my new life with my husband and being so young and prime, in my professional career. Yeah, it was devastating.
So then you had this health journey that you're going to share in a little bit. So tell us, what is your situation now? What kind of gains have you been able to achieve by applying those tools that you're going to talk to us about?
Where I believe, I guess it took 7 years, and I'll share the journey, but a 7-year journey to renewing my health, and pretty much curing curing the disease. I have never been on traditional medication, and after the 7-year journey to healing, I've spent the last almost 20 years symptom free, and with no longer any autoimmune issues.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So, like, you were able to either prevent the condition from developing or worsening, that you were having the signs. But do you feel like, these health journey that you took, would it be important for people who don't have any kind of immune deficiency problem, especially during these times of COVID-19?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel prevention is what we can control, and how we can consider thriving and having the most vitality in our life. So it's why I do programs like this, and I just want to share my story to encourage people that we have an ability. I was young, and I used that to my advantage, to really learn how to heal. Our human body wants to heal. Give our human body the right circumstances for healing. We can cure ourselves. And even if you are feeling, vital, you could even just prevent any future, potential diseases or mishaps with your health, is my belief.
Yeah. And I, like, being a doctor, I know that there are different levels of illnesses that people go through. And sometimes you may need the treatment and you may need the medication, but still having these lifestyle changes help
Yep.
reduce the severity of illness.
Yep.
And so even if you cannot prevent it, it can at least reduce and improve the energy and motivation. That's great. And so, how did you become interested in, like, first tell me, like, why is it important for our kids to also learn, not just for adults but also for your kids?
So through my healing journey, and trying a lot of different alternative modalities, and just using my human body as an experiment, led me to becoming certified as a holistic health counselor in 2002. And I went to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. What I learned is prevention for children. And at that time, it's more dire now. We have over 1 million young adults struggling with being overweight, or more severe obesity. So we know, by the CDC, that prevention and education is how we can continue to strive to cut down that large amount of people who are struggling, and of course with obesity and overweight, there are chronic health diseases that kind of creep in, where you have, liver disease or sleep apnea or gallbladder or, and with children, self-esteem issues. So I got interested and I read an article about this obesity prevention program that was being sponsored by Mount Sinai University, and the medical director was going into Head Start schools in low-income communities with the Children's Aid Society. And so it was kind of an eureka moment for me. I said, I need to get involved. I need to help with a solution and try to see how we can, support with all this new information. So with going into, Harlem and going into these Head Start programs, what we learned is that children were absorbing the information, and we were creating these fun teaching sessions, 20 minutes a week for 16 weeks. Our pre and post survey with the parents was extraordinary. Parents were losing weight. The children were going home. The 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds were going home teaching their parents.
That's
Whether
interesting.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
And so
Excuse
educating, I feel, so not preaching, but teaching
me.
and allowing children to make their own decisions and to create this experience excitement around eating foods in nature, and creating this colorful palette, right? And being able to, kind of share that and be part of the shopping experience. Kids were going into the supermarkets, and most kids do at that age. They're in the supermarkets and they're saying, Mama, 1% leche, Mama, agua. And so with that experience, it just kind of enlightened me and kind of created this opportunity to continue the program outside of the nonprofit Children's Aid and to create Nourish Our Kids.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I would like to hear a little bit more about the story in a minute. But before that, let me just kind of clarify. We were talking about immune system and immunity, and then we started talking about obesity and healthy eating. So how did that shift happen? Like, what is the relationship between our immune system and what we are eating?
So on my journey, not only going to the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, I started attending cooking classes at the Natural Gourmet Cooking School in New York City. And what the founder, Anne-Marie Colburn, was teaching her students was the difference between Western and Eastern eating philosophies, and kind of brought in some of the teachings about how animals don't count calories. We don't, right? Animals are intuitive. They eat what's in nature, and they eat what's available to them at the time of each of the changing seasons. And if we were to go back to our ancestors and we were able to understand there's a piece of DNA in each of our bodies that comes from our ancestors and where they lived in the world. And many times when we look at our diet and we look at the foods that we are drawn to, right? And so right now we're coming into the fall, we're in the fall season, and many people are enjoying the sweet potatoes and the pumpkin and the nuts. And so kind of the philosophy, eating in line with the seasons like our ancestors did, right? Before we were able to transport foods all over the country, and just experimenting in the early days, realizing a strawberry that's flown from, from the south to the East Coast doesn't taste as beautiful, and it's not as red or vibrant when you eat a strawberry in the summer season when you're living on the East Coast.
So are
And
you
so,
saying that the food of the season
yeah,
helps improve immunity?
yeah, you're eating in line with nature. And so when you're eating the foods, you won't have a weight issue. You're not buying foods that are transported out of your natural element, and you're getting the nutrients. You're getting the nutrients that are meant to be absorbed to your body.
Yeah.
And what I found in the early days is I had taken some medication. I had gained a good amount of weight, 20 pounds, because of the steroids to reduce inflammation. And I couldn't let go of that weight. And when I started adapting this lifestyle, the weight just fell off.
Yeah.
And
So
and
I really kind of appreciate, because what many times people, we think about losing the weight, but it's not, the number on the machine is not as important as your overall health, as your overall immunity against illnesses, so
Mhm.
it can protect you. And so,
Yep,
what you're talking about is the fresh food, and the more direct the food is, the more phytonutrients in the food. And that decreases your body's inflammation, increases the immunity, so provides the protection against a lot of illnesses. And so,
yes,
in your case, the MS, which is a very much inflammation related illness, you were able to prevent it from getting worse. So that is wonderful. And so, other than food, are there other immune boosting ideas that we can use for ourselves and our kids? So let's go into them first, and then we'll go into the specific food as a second step.
yeah. So what I also learned is to really support. It wasn't just about food. It's body, mind, spirit connection. And what I had to do is heal my spirit, my joy for life, because I was given this diagnosis at 26. Years before, when I was 21, I suffered a tragic loss of my twin brother. And so
Right.
feeling this remorse and this grief and this hopelessness, um, for so many years, I needed to find ways to heal my spirit, and my needed to, so it was not all just the food and my physical body, it was my heart and my soul. And so I believe that most people need to also kind of, because you hear it a lot, especially now with COVID, people saying, I was so healthy. What happened to me? How did I get hit with COVID, and why am I suffering so much? And I do feel, with the work that I've done with so many others over these few decades, it is the body, mind, spirit connection. So meditation, yoga for just stretching and just doing. Right now, everyone's working at home. It's finding that time to be out in nature. It's just trying to find cooking. I'm cooking more. I'm enjoying more time with my family. It's that what is going to support and to create kind of a diagram of what are the things that you love to do? What are the things that you want to continue to do that's going to support your mind, body, and spirit? And
Wonderful.
so those are kind of some of those thoughts.
Wonderful. And so, uh, many times I've seen that people talk about nutrition and forget to talk about water. And so, what role did you find the water plays in building our immunity?
So there's an addiction going on, with, sugar, and the amount of sugar that's in soda and fruit drinks. And so when you go into the supermarket, and I did a lot of work with people trying to say, how do we get ourselves away from drinking anything but water? And so knowing that 70% of our body is made up of water. So the guideline is to drink half your body weight in ounces. The more water we drink, the more hydrated. Most people walk around dehydrated, because they're relying on coffee in the morning, maybe a fruit beverage, maybe, a caffeine drink, and then maybe there's alcohol at the end of the day. So just to be mindful, because it's going to clear your mind. A lot of people talk about the brain fog that goes on. I just can't focus. I feel fuzzy. What I've learned in my counseling is once we introduce water, And you can start with salsa. You can start with adding some nice fruits, you know, like lemon and limes. You could start, if you can't go from A to Z, you got to kind of start using a 21-day change your habit pattern to get yourself to start drinking more water. And I guarantee what I've learned from myself and others, you start drinking more water, you're naturally going to feel better. Whatever is bothering you, you're going to feel better.
Wonderful. So, what's the role of, cleansing or detoxing for immunity?
So it's from my root cause. So over the 7-year journey, it was really finding the root cause. What created my body to go out of balance? What started affecting my nervous system? And so what we learned, it was the toxins that were in my environment. So I had just got married, new apartment, a lot of polyurethane, new furniture. I lived in a home with my parents who were smokers. I lived very close to LaGuardia Airport. I worked in the city. My body doesn't detox naturally. And so it's a gene marker that 1 out of 3 of us have. And so what I've learned is detoxing for my body is so critical to maintain my health. And so we go, my whole family, we do it together as a family. And I have 3 daughters, and 2 are in college and 1 is in high school. So we kind of take the time to let our body rest, and we go through a detox,
How do you
5-day
do that?
detox,
How do you do
3
that?
or 4 times a year.
How do you do detox?
So there's several ways. I think that it's not something that anybody should take on their own. I work with a functional medicine partner, and we go through a series of days of just drinking some beautiful shake drinks that have pea protein and natural fibers, along with a green drink that's going to try to take a lot of the chemicals out of your gallbladder, your liver, and help you eliminate. And you're drinking a lot of water, and then a paleo diet. Just eating more, fruits and vegetables, and a little bit of grains for 7 days. And so you're not starving. You don't feel awful. You're not, and it's just a really beautiful, nice way of just giving the body a rest in any chemical foods or sugar. You don't have dairy or sugar. Pretty much you're eliminating sugar and dairy for
Wonderful.
7 days.
Okay, that's good. That sounds reasonable. I think that's doable. So, are there foods that weaken our immunity?
Sugar.
Okay, sugar weakens our immunity.
What I've learned is to give back to ourselves the best possible source. And so those are whole foods that aren't laden with chemicals, that aren't sprayed with pesticides, or don't grow in tainted soil. So if you can afford it, if you can buy local, if you can find the best source of meats, your protein sources, your vegetables, I feel, and we're all coming into our life as different, human beings. So really leaning into some of the philosophy that we just talked about, eating in line with nature, finding those meats and those, dairy is tough. Dairy is tough on a lot of people. It affects their digestive system. So I feel like sugar would be number 1, dairy would be number 2, from my experience.
Wonderful. So I'm like really excited about talking about your program that you do for kids, where you share healthy eating tips for kids. And tell us about this program, and what do you call it? Like knock? What's the name of your book?
So it's should I show
Yes,
a
please
copy of
show
the
the
book?
book. Show the book and tell us the story. How does the story go? Because it was very exciting.
Okay, so the Knock Rockers, Trouble in Slowville. And so these are the 3 characters, and you'll see them, they're behind me as well. But we have, our main characters is James with the apple, Sarana with the yoga mat, and Isaiah. So it's kind of similar to the Magic School Bus. So anyone who has children and their children have read the Magic School Book series or watched the TV series, we feel that role modeling is so important with children that are 3 to 7. That children will want to aspire to be like children that are like them. They look like them, and they like the same, they have the same interest. And a lot of this study comes out of Cornell University. When they did a test and they put a Sesame Street character, and they put a character, same Sesame Street character who had an apple, they were drawn to the apple instead of, so I think it's just that modeling. So what these kids do in the story is they are going to undo a spell, and they've been told, I don't know if you can see with
There's a little
but
shade of light coming, but yeah, we can see it.
they use their knock express. So knock is Nourish Our Kids. So the Nourish Our Kids train goes to a sleepy, slow town. And they go to this town that is just lost all of its color. So there they are, they're saying, wow, what's going on? What's going on here? Why is everybody's black and white? Like, what happened to this tattered town? And what they're realizing is that they're eating slow foods. I'll see if I can show you guys. Slow foods, because there's a town bully. And you can see the town bully behind me. So Junk Food Jammer, and he's right there behind me.
Junk Food Jammer.
There he is.
All right, yeah.
There he is, Junk Food Jammer. Junk Food Jammer's made everyone believe it's okay to eat junk food 24/7. And he's hanging out at the Greasy Spoon Diner. It's open 24/7.
Right.
And so it's not okay. So the children know, because they're the nourished kids, they know it's not okay to have sweets and junk food all the time. Once in a while it's okay to have a treat, right? There's somebody's birthday, there's a celebration. And so what they find is that he has boarded up the beautiful garden of fruits and vegetables. And so they come up with an idea and they break through, and I'm going to show you again, there they are. And they bring, and what happens is they go to the town and the kids are coming out from school and they're sharing the fruits and vegetables. And if you can see, the colors are changing. The colors are changing, the kids are changing. And so when I go into the schools and we're talking to the children and we're explaining to them how it's great to try new things. And of course, he's not happy. He wants this, none of this nonsense. He doesn't want people to change color. But when he is asked to try something new, when he's asked to go by Zoe, so Zoe's their guide, because everybody needs a guide, and so she's the children's guide. You can see behind me, he changes into Jam and Jake. So they go to the bandstand and they start singing about Go Foods. So, and the song goes, you are what you eat, so kick up your feet and help your body grow. Knock rockers, go. And so we go into the school and we start teaching the children about their body, that they have a body and they need to protect their body and they need to feed their body because their body is growing. And so in the beginning of the year, we're going to map out their growth chart and we're going to put it in the classroom. And then we're going to do it again. And we're going to show them their body is growing. So just like Foods in Nature is growing, we want them to get excited about putting in those fruits and those vegetables into their beautiful body so that they can grow strong.
Wonderful.
And so
seems like, it is a very exciting program, and we're kind of coming to the end of this session, so maybe we can give some more information through your PowerPoint in a resources section. And so can you tell us where people can get this book if they want to share it with their kids or they want to bring this program to their schools?
Absolutely. So it's on our website, www.nourishourkids.com. So there is a cost for the book, but there isn't a cost for the curriculum. The curriculum has been written by educators. It's a 12-week program, and so the model is to go in to your school, talk to your PTA, get your school principal and everyone excited. We ring the bell, we bring in the Knock Express, and we teach the children in a fun way about how they can. We have T-shirts and just ways of just bringing them into.
Wonderful.
Um,
Yeah, what a brilliant idea. Like, teaching the kids, engaging them so they are healthy from the beginning and they develop their immunity and protect themselves from illnesses in their adult life. So I'm going to share with people if they want to get the resources. They can get it through texting joyful to 38470 or joining our Facebook group, Happy and Healthy Mind for Dr. Rosina. If you want to just kind of sign up at drrosina.com, you'll also get the emails about these resources. And so before we go into the special of the day, where I'm going to talk about a powerful way to train your brain, do you have any last message for our audience?
I just feel it's all about prevention. And so spend a little time doing research and putting some time and energy into your body, your mind, and your spirit. And that's going to save you money and any burdens for your, for your future. So, and thank you so much, and I hope everyone can just learn something today, and that you thrive and live a vibrant life. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you so much for joining. So, for special of the day, I was, many people have difficulty shifting their negative thoughts to positive thoughts, especially when a lot of negative things are happening. Do you ever struggle with that? Donna, do you ever
Oh,
struggle with
me.
having, yeah,
Oh,
shift
yes, yes,
negative thoughts from positive?
yes.
Yeah, so a lot of people have, and so we talk about, like, flip the switch or shift the thoughts from negative to positive, but it is hard sometimes. So recently, I had a patient. She had an illness, and she was told that maybe she has about 5 years of life left. So she was feeling very negative, and so when I asked her how she's feeling, she said, "I feel screwed. I am just 55 and I'm just told that I have only 5 years left, and so nothing I can do." And so I said, "Okay, well, can you shift that thought because it's not working for you?" And she said, "I can't think of any positive thought. I have an illness. I've been given only a few years to live. What's that to be positive about?" So it was very hard. So I said, "Okay, let's forget about the word positive and negative. Let's focus on the word helpful and hurtful. So tell me, this thought that you only have 5 years left, does it help you or does it hurt you?" So she said, "It hurts me." So I said, "Okay, can you shift it into a helpful thought?" So from hurtful to helpful thought. And she said, "Well, I can't think about anything helpful." And so I said, "Okay, what if you think about, okay, I'm so grateful that I have 5 years left instead of 5 months left, or only 5 days left, or only 5 minutes left," because when she went to the hospital, she was having a lot of breathing problem. And so then when we put the things in perspective, she was able to shift the thought from, okay, my life is screwed, to I'm grateful that I have 5 years to enjoy life. And
Yeah,
so my message to you is that whenever you are having these uh, hurtful thoughts, think about, okay, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it is hurting you, try to find an alternative which could be more helpful, and that way you can bring more positivity, more joy, and every day is a new day. So every day try to be a little better than previous day, and you'll be able to nurture a happy and healthy mind and a happy and healthy body, so you could enjoy your life fully. On that message, thank you for joining. Thank you, Dana, for coming, and
thank you.
see you next time.
Bye. Have a great day.